way he promised it, so that's the way it happened. Sarah was a nourishing mother. Abraham was an ecstatic father. It must have been horrific then when God commanded Abraham to sacrifice his son. So this is where we're at in this lesson now. After they had to go through the promises and try to make the promises happen on their own, finally they got the son named Isaac. And that's where we're at in this lesson. But Abraham had to sacrifice, so to speak, his son. Amen? And how do we explain Abraham's action? How did he overcome his parental instinct to protect his son? The author of Hebrews described Abraham's faith in this way. By faith, when he was tried, offered up Isaac, and he had received the promise, and he offered up his only begotten son, of whom it was said, that in Isaac shall thy seed be called, accounted that God was able to raise him up even from the dead, from whence also he received him a figure. Amen. All right, so I'm going to go backwards now. So we know pretty much what's happening here in the text, that Abraham got the promise, and now he had to sacrifice the promise because God was testing his faith to see how much he loved God. And sometimes God has to test our faith just to see if we're going to do what he says, just to prove if we're really obedient unto his word. See, Abraham loved Isaac so much, but he was willing to sacrifice him at the altar because God told him to do so. And God wanted to really see if Abraham was going to obey. And sometimes God does that with each and every one of us. He takes something from us or allows us to sacrifice or give something away that's very important just to see who we really love, if we're really going to obey his words. And that's what this lesson pretty much is all about. So, Prophet, I'm going to ask you to read 22, 1 and 2. You got yours on the phone? And then I'm going to want you to read Riddell 6 and 7. And I'll read 8 and 9, and then we just go back around. Amen.
And it came to pass after these things that God did tempt Abraham and said unto him, Abraham, and he said, Behold, here I am. And he asked, Take now thy son, thine only son Isaac, whom thou lovest, and get thee into the land of Moriah, and offer him there for a burnt offering upon one of the mountains which I will tell thee of.
6 and 7.
And Abraham took the wood of the burnt offering, and laid it upon Isaac his son, and he took the fire in his hand, and a knife, and they went both of them together. And Isaac spake unto Abraham his father, and said, My father. And he said, Here I am, my son. And he said, Behold the fire and the wood, but where is the lamb for a burnt offering?
Amen. And I'm going to read number 7 again. And Isaac spoke, that was the son, and Abraham his father, and said, My father, he said, Here am I. My son, he said, Behold the fire and the wood. So he had the fire, the wood, and everything. So the son is asking, Behold the fire and the wood, but where is the lamb for the burnt offering? Amen. So basically the son appeared to be. Sometimes things appear to look like something, but that's not what it really is. But God wants to see if you're faithfully. So the very son was asking, well, you got the wood and you got the fire and everything, but who's going to go? Basically what he's asking is who's going to go on the fire? Basically he's asking who's going to be the sacrifice. Amen. Because at that time they just didn't see who was going to be the sacrifice, but Abraham was supposed to sacrifice Isaac on that altar. All right. And Abraham said, My son, God will what?
Provide.
God will do what?
Provide.
God will